Good morning, good morning. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. I usually use a tripod and it's just not working today. Kept falling over, so we're just forgetting that. But yeah, that's just a few minutes of messing around. Um, anyway, we're here now. Hi. And you can see my beautiful flowers are coming into full bloom. So they are a week old now, and you can see that it's called a rose lily there. I think that's another one. You can see on the side there. Yeah, they're gorgeous. I love them. Fresh flowers make me so happy. Okay, so it's like past the middle of August already. I can't quite believe this. I don't know where the time is going. And I think some American schools are starting back to school already. I've been seeing back to school photos, which is just blowing my mind. We've got 3 weeks left of summer vacation here. But yeah, the girls are with their dad now for this week and next week. So I had them for the last 2 weeks, and now they are with their dad for these 2 weeks. And then the final week, we split it up half and half the week, and then they go back. So it's been, I kind of wanted to talk about like the mixed feelings I've had to do with them going back to their dad's for 2 weeks. So it's the longest I've ever not seen them. Although that said, after this after this video, I am going to go pick Nora up and take her to an eye appointment. So I will get to see her and get to cuddle Evie when I pick her up. But then it'll be a week and a half solid after that. But yeah, I've never gone more than a week without seeing them before, which is, so 2 weeks is quite a long time. But also, in the run up to this, when the last 2 weeks when I did have them the whole time, honestly, I was looking forward to them going to the dad's house and me having the bit of the break, because that's how busy I've been with work. And I was looking forward to it going, oh my goodness, like at least I'll just get to focus on work. And there were times during the 2 weeks, and also I'm aware that like 2 weeks isn't, all that long to have them nonstop either. And I used to have them pretty much all the time. And I certainly had them every night for over 2 years. But you quickly adjust to the new norm, don't you? So since April, I haven't had them every night anymore. And since April, I've been able to go grocery shopping at night if I wanted to, or go meet a friend, or just do anything for half the nights. And so then to have that taken away again, and to feel, because it's almost like, it's like this freedom gets taken away. I mean, literally, like it was quite hot the past couple of weeks, and I really, really just wanted ice cream a couple nights. And the girls were asleep, and I couldn't go get any ice cream because the girls are asleep upstairs. Like, I can't leave the house. And it's just this sense of like stuckness sometimes. So it almost wasn't even, sometimes it was the meltdowns and the hard parenting stuff, but sometimes it was just this feeling of a lack of freedom that was a bit like, oh, this is so frustrating now that I've kind of had that taste of freedom again. So there was definitely that element of it. But then also, because I have had so much work to do, and I'd have to stop and then go get the girls and do the logistics Olympics, and then get them down to bed, and then pick up my work again and start again in the evening. And so it was kind of, I had this like, oh, at least when they're with their dad, I'll be able to just focus on work. But then I hated that feeling. Like, that's not how I want to feel. I don't want to feel like I'm wishing away my time with them, or that I'm like, would rather they weren't here, or like, no, that's definitely not how I want to feel. And the last weekend, so this past weekend just gone that we had together, actually was way better than I thought it was going to be, because I thought like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so tired and run down from all the work, and it's just going to be like survival mode all weekend, and I'm going to be like counting down till Monday morning. And then I decided that sounded like a terrible weekend. So we didn't. So Saturday we went to a friend's house down near Oxford. So it was about a 2.5 hour drive, which it was for her daughter's birthday party. So it was already in the calendar, but it was iffy whether I was going to go or not. Oh, hi, Brigitte. And then, so we went to that party, and again, because I know that part of the reason you guys like to come here is I don't sugarcoat things. And the party was a mixed bag as well. So the car ride was great. I love the car ride because they're contained and they're one place and I can just, throw books and snacks at them. Actually, they didn't get snacks in the car. They just had books. And the car ride is fine. But at the party, I was so tired and worn out. People were like, "Oh, how are you?" And I was like, I couldn't do the like fake it great. And then the girls were whiny. So it was a first birthday party, and my friend had made all of these beautiful, like cutesy little food things. Like she'd gone Pinterest crazy, and there was like little what were they? Bug bites, celery sticks with cute little fruits and vegetables in the shape of bugs, and there was log rolls with raw vegetables. There was a lot of vegetables on offer, and my girls declared they didn't want to eat anything except the crisps, just nothing but crisps. Then they had like really yummy drinks. So there was like fresh watermelon juice, and there was iced tea, and there was there's Pimm's, obviously that's not child friendly. But there was a couple like nice drink options. And my girls only wanted Robinson's orange squash or Robinson's blackcurrant squash. And my friends do not have squash in their house, which is fine. I didn't either until I had two demanding children. But I just, I was having these moments of like, my kids are, I felt like they're only eating crisps and squash, and I look like a bad mom, and like they weren't doing what I wanted them to do, which was to just happily fall into the party and leave me alone so I could talk to my friends, was the short answer of it. And then I kind of partway through, just got my head around, that's ridiculous. That's not what the girls need right now. It's fine if they don't want to eat this food. It's fine. I wasn't, there was no squash. I couldn't give them squash. But if they don't want to drink anything, and I just keep trying to force water down them, fine. It doesn't make me a bad parent. It doesn't make my kids bad kids. It just was what it was. It did help turn things around when we discovered that there was ice lollies, popsicles, whatever you want to call them, in the freezer, and that the girls were much happier when they could have some popsicles. And then we went on a scavenger hunt, and they got some ice cream at the end, and then they were really happy. So it did turn on, and I did get to talk to my friends. And honestly, when I said that, I couldn't fake it and be like, everything's great. It actually was really, really nice to tell my friends, things are really hard right now. I am very tired. These are the hours I'm working. The girls are whining because they only want squash, and to just say things are a bit tricky right now, and to have people understand that. It was so nice. And I think I mentioned last week that I don't always talk about because I do not like pity, and nobody gave me pity. It was really good to just be like, this is how it is. Things are tough, and people will be like, yeah, I hear ya. And the logistics Olympics, and it didn't turn into a big moaning fest either, because I also hate that. I don't want to get together with other parents and be like, oh, it's so hard all the time, because I actually really like my kids. I think they're great. I love them. They're so much fun. And I don't want it to turn into a big thing like that. So, and it didn't, but it was just we could all acknowledge that what, sometimes this stuff is really hard, and you're not alone in that, and I feel you. So that was cool. It also had me coming away though thinking about how I watch, so I come to these things and I'm always 2-on-1. There's always 2 kids and 1 me, and I'm being torn in both directions. They want to do different things, and I want to talk to my friends, and I'm just a bit whirlwindy. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they go and play off by themselves entirely, and I just get to sit back and have a great time. But yeah, it wasn't like that this weekend. They needed my attention this time. But I came away from it thinking how some of my friends there were 2-on-2, 2 parents, 2 kids. Because it was the first birthday that the people's house we were at, it was 2 parents, 1 kid, and sometimes I'm like, oh, this ratio is all wrong. This seems like an unfair ratio. How come I'm always outnumbered, and how come this is always so tricky? But honestly, I can't imagine it any other way. I've never, what's the word here? Because I solo parent. I've never couple parented 2 kids. So I've only ever known 2 parents, 1 kid, or 1 parent, 2 kids. I've never been, because we split up as soon as Evie was born, really. And I genuinely can't imagine now what it would be like to have another parent parenting my kids in a social setting like that. It's baffling to me. And it just made me step back and think how strange that is, and how there's so many things I actually love about single parenting, because I watch other dynamics sometimes and I'm like, oh, you thought that you had the kid, but turns out you were supposed to have the kid, or you're disagreeing on what the kid's supposed to have or not supposed to have. And it kind of made me appreciate, actually, that although it's easy to fall into single parenting is so hard, which it is sometimes, and I definitely hit decision burnout, where I just feel like I can't, I've had to make every decision and I don't want to make any more decisions, and there's definitely stuff about it. But also, so is parenting with a partner, isn't it? They're just very different, or even not all that different, but there are just different dynamics at play. And it kind of made me stop and appreciate, again, that none of us are in this alone. And whether you're a single parent or in a super awesome partnership or in a maybe not so awesome partnership, wherever you're at with all of that, you are not the only one going through it. And people who are in a different dynamic will still have similar feelings of frustration and feelings of not being seen or being heard. Brittany, this is so true about single parenting. Which bit's so true. But yeah, there's a lot of things at play. And yeah, that's just what that weekend brought up lots of stuff in that regard. I also, there was something else I was going to say. Now I've lost it. Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, after, it's annoying me now that I was going to say something. Oh well. But that actually kind of leads on to, compared to 2 parents making decisions. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So the decision burnout. And I think that's something I was really struggling with the past 2 weeks, because with the logistics Olympics of the school holidays and having to get the kids, Evie went to nursery every day, but to get Nora to different places and do different things. And I had to keep, I guess they weren't decisions as such in that case, but it was just, the full mental load. But it was decisions too. It was and because decisions don't always mean the big things. It can be the little things. And I just had to, every decision was right, what am I packing for lunch today? What am I having to send in her bag? What food do I need to buy to feed them this weekend? And then at work, I'm one of the bosses, and I am leading this big project that we're doing right now. It's my project at work, and so I've got to make tons of decisions there too, and it's just this decision burnout. I don't want to make any more decisions. And I would love to just hand my kids over and be somebody make the decisions. You tell me what to put in the lunchbox and I can put it in the lunchbox, but please don't make me think about what to put in the lunchbox. So yeah, there was a lot of that. This actually leads on pretty well, unintentionally, to what I wanted to talk about in terms of a question this week. So it's come up in my world recently about loneliness and single parenting and getting divorced more generally, the loneliness that comes along with that, but then in a single parent context as well. And that can often be a big fear in terms of when you're thinking about potentially ending your relationship or is ending, and that fear of loneliness and being on your own. And this is something that I really, I've been there, I've dealt with that, and I want to talk about it today a little bit. Because I think, I hear from people that they don't like to be on their own because, some people just say I find it boring, but actually, some people really get straight to it and go, I don't like being on my own because then I'm left alone with my own thoughts, and I don't really I don't want to be left alone with my own thoughts. That's a scary idea. And And I don't quite know how to sugar-coated respond to that, because my honest response is that that's a problem. Like, that's, if, and it's not to say that's a problem and you should like go straight in headlong and like sort it out and shock your nervous system, because I think I've talked about this before, where I do really believe in taking small baby steps, giving your nervous system time to adjust, and all of this stuff is a gradual process. Like, all of the work I've done has not been like one big massive revelation. It's all come over time when I'm ready for it. But I will say that if you're at the point where you can acknowledge, I don't like to be alone with my own thoughts, we should do something about that. Because you are the person that you need to be the most intimate with. Your relationship with yourself is the most important, far and above anything else. And if you know that there's stuff that you don't want to think about and that you're like afraid of what it will bring up, and emotions, that stuff doesn't go away just because you don't spend time with it. That stuff is in there, and actually it will end up running your life, but probably not in a way that you want it to. And getting intimate with yourself and with those thoughts, and getting, depending on what they are, like, it's sometimes they need changing, sometimes they just need compassion, sometimes they need healing, sometimes they just need airing out into the open light, because things are not always, but things can often be much, much scarier and harder when they're like locked away inside the darkness of your brain. And then you bring them out into the light and it's like, oh, they're not that scary after all. So I think the first step, like this question was about dealing with loneliness, but so my first thing is that if you're in a position where you think, I know I don't want to be on my own because I'm afraid to be with my own thoughts, then let's work on that. But if it's not that, if it's that feeling of loneliness, I would say that big pieces of it are getting comfortable with your own time, definitely. And I really, really love my own company these days, like to the point where, I'd said before that I can't actually imagine parenting with somebody else. I can't quite picture what that looks like. I also, although I am like totally open and ready for love and relationship and like calling in my exactly man, and like can see this absolutely amazing love in my future, and I 100% believe that this is available to me now, which is a big shift for me because I wasn't so sure for a while, but I 100% just know that like this is out there for me. But all of that said, I can't actually picture living with another grown-up. Like I can't picture a man living in my house or me moving in with another man. Like my brain just stops at that point, because I really like hanging out with myself, and I want to hang out with somebody else, but I want to hang out with them and then I want to come home to my space. But to be able to get to that point, I forgot my headphones, so I have to leave, but okay, yeah, that's great. And it will be it's saved as well, so it's not just that if you can't catch it live, it's not here. So it does get saved on my grid and on the little video tab, so if you want to watch it later, you can watch this one back as well. But if you catch next week too, that's great. Sorry, side note, and yeah, comments, they always I love having comments, but then I get thrown off. But that's the beauty of the live, isn't it? So the loneliness piece. So it really is getting comfortable with your own time, and to do that, I'm going to put the being afraid of your own thoughts bit aside for now. But to get comfortable with spending your own time, it is really looking at, what do I actually enjoy? What do I like to do? What makes me feel good? Because if the answer is, I come home from work every night and I, have dinner and then I sit down and I turn on Netflix and I watch TV all night, that sounds pretty lonely and boring, and like that's not going to be very fulfilling if that's all night, every night. Like, yeah, that loneliness is going to hit you hard. However, if you take the time and really start to get to know what you enjoy and what you love and what lights you up, and you fill your time with things that really light you up inside, it's a whole different ball game. It's not going to feel that loneliness aching, because when you're feeling lonely, there's this hole inside of you that needs filling. And so you're trying to reach out to other people to fill this hole inside. And the way to flip that is to fill yourself up. It's not waiting on somebody else to fill you up. It's really starting to tune in and to learn how to fill up yourself first. And that makes all the world of difference, both in terms of the loneliness, but then also just in terms of really learning how to prioritize yourself and your needs and understanding your worthiness and knowing who you really, really are, so that when there is time to introduce another person into your life and to have that intimate connection with somebody else, it's from a really strong foundation, a really grounded foundation of your own intimacy with yourself, which you can then build on with intimacy with other humans. But without having that intimacy with yourself first, it is looking kind of for other people to fill that. That doesn't mean, let me be really, really clear, that doesn't mean that you're not worthy of love or worthy of a relationship or, shouldn't connect with other people. I'm just saying that looking for other people to fill something inside of you isn't as strong as a foundation as filling it yourself. So finding what you love and filling your time with that. And, like for me, doing that as a single parent with 2 tiny children, I couldn't leave the house to go do things. So it wasn't like I was, because I would have thought like, oh, I love yoga classes and I'll take other classes and stuff like that. I had to do it within the house. Also, it was lockdown, so there's that. But for me, it was, I dove into the world of personal development at that time. So I first signed up with Arbonne and then did a lot of personal development with them, which is a network marketing company. I did a lot of personal development with them. Then I got into coaching. I would spend my evenings reading, watching coaching lessons. I did do yoga, at home yoga, and just, really was doing the things that I loved and rediscovering that. And I actually really, and that really, really helped the loneliness. I would also say, how much time have I got? Ooh, I'm going on. I'll try and wrap this up. But the other thing I would say about loneliness is really getting intentional about your network and about connections. So a lot of us can be kind of fall into relying on our partner to be our main social connection, or the deepest one. And do we maybe do things with other friends, but at a more surface level? And really, for me, my breakup was an opportunity to really connect with my friends again, some old friends, some new friends. And to really expand my world. So I'm still practicing this, but asking people for help more often. But also just the connecting and the, having phone calls with people, getting together. Again, as a single parent who couldn't leave the house, I'd have people come over here for a cup of coffee, not a cup of coffee, but a nice cup of decaf herbal tea at the end of the night. And some, definitely these things, every time I would do them, I'd be like, why don't I do this more often? But there's definitely still ways that you can have people come into your life that doesn't mean in an intimate relationship. So I really, like I said, used it as a chance to strengthen my friendship and my relationships with other people, which I think is really healthy, not just as a single person, but, going forward, relying on our partners to be like the one and only thing in our lives. Again, not a super solid foundation. I want it to be me first, and then I want to have lots of people in my life who are filling different needs and who I'm filling different needs for them. And we get different things from different people. Expecting it to all come from one person seems entirely unfair and far too much pressure for that person. So that was my whirlwind tour of my weekend, thoughts about things being hard, single parenting, and then dealing with loneliness. Is there anything that I missed? No, I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. So I hope that was helpful, interesting. Definitely, as always, if you've got questions, comments, want to continue the conversation, leave comments on the video, send me a DM. I'm really, really happy to talk about it. And hear your experiences with all of this too, because again, the whole point of me sharing so much of this is to let you know that you're not alone, to let other people know that they're not alone in all these feelings. So let's carry on the conversation. I will, let's see here. So I'll be here next Wednesday, same time, 10 o'clock. Do it again. I will try and remember to put up the question box on my stories on Tuesday. I have about 80% hit rate. I'm remembering to put up the box on time. Not probably 90%. But if you've got any questions, look out for that story box, or just send me a DM at any point. Like, you can definitely just send me a message and get your question in for next week's, and that's a cool way to do it too. In terms of all of this stuff, if you ever want to go deeper into any of these things, and through some one-on-one coaching, I am currently offering one-off sessions, which is new for me. I don't usually do that, but at the moment I'm offering one-off sessions. So the link for that is in my bio. You can click right on that, or just send me a message. But we can do like a one-off video session on that. We can do the three session mini package, and we can get, that's a chance to kind of dive in the medium term option. And then if you want the long-term full premium package, 3 months of coaching with me, where you get all the Voxer messaging support in between, that is on a wait list starting, the coaching would start in October, but you can do extended payment plans from now onwards. So that's an option too. Just send me a message. But at any point, if you ever want support in any of these things, going deeper in and want to really get into it, like at a personal level with you, love to help. So just let me know. And I think that's it. So I am going to go get Nora, take her to her eye appointment, and get sneaky snuggles sneaky snuggles when they're supposed to be at their dad's. And I will catch you later. Okay. Love you. Bye.